Ever since the pandemic kicked things into work from home, finding a good webcam has been actually kind of hard, and finding one for a decent price has been just as difficult as anything else. Well, Nexigo reached out offering some webcams for us to check out, some USB webcams. Let's see how they stack up. My name is Chris, this is Coalition Gaming, and today I'll be your stream technician. Real quick, if you're new around here and are into tech, PC hardware, gaming, stream tips and tutorials, news and reviews, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss a single upload. Also, I stream to Twitch every Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/Coalition Gaming Crew. So drop us a follow and let's talk some tech. Anyways, let's get to the video. So I can't say I've heard of this company called Nexigo, but when they reached out offering some interesting webcams, I was kind of intrigued. I haven't really visited the USB webcam space in a decent amount of time. The last one being the AverMedia PW513, which is a $250 webcam. That's a price that's not for everyone. And before that was AverMedia's PW313, which was still on the kind of pricey side, I suppose, but the webcam was not the greatest. So Nexigo offered their N660p. This would be like their Logitech C930 or C920 competitor, and they're also this one, which has a ring light. What's the model on this guy? N680e. N680e. So it has a ring light, so this makes it more like a competitor to the Razer Kiyo. They actually have another model with the ring light as well. I guess I'll leave a link down in the description to both models. This is the one they sent me for that, and I guess let's throw them on the computer and see how they look. But first, let's take them out of the box and see what's inside. We'll start with the ring light camera, since that one I think is the most interesting one. Okay. Oh, it looks little privacy sliders, the stick-on ones. They provide that in there with it. Interesting. And yeah, that's all there is to it in there in that box. So there we go. Now, this does reflect the Razer Kiyo design and on the base. However, the cable goes to the camera, not really through the base, which does make it a little bit different. So I mean, that's something to look at right there. It does have the 1/4-inch mount on the bottom, so if you wanted to put it on a tripod mount or a stand or something like that, you can do that, as well as having the traditional monitor stand mount, so you can just set it on your screen or something else. And it appears to be USB 2.0. Let's check out the second one. Okay, so here's the N660p. Let's take this guy out of the box. How are you packaged? Let's open you up. Box is pretty simple. No like frame or anything like foam or nothing holding this guy down. It's just in there flopping out of the box. Take that. So the privacy slider on this guy is built in, unlike the other one, so you can just slide it over like that, which is kind of neat. Yeah, a little simpler, but let's see here, a little protector over the lens. Let's go ahead and peel that off. And there we go. So they do have microphones. Actually, I'm not so sure about the ring light one, but we'll find out. This one, the C920 competitor one, does have, yeah, it does have microphones on it. It does have the 1/4-inch, same mounting system. And yeah, the actual physical style of it is reminiscent of Logitech, like a Brio cross with the C920, kinda. And USB 2.0 as well. Anyways, let's see how these guys look. Okay, so here we are down at the desktop. Right now, the camera that you're seeing me through is my main streaming camera. That is a Sony a5100 with the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. So this is the combo that I would say most streamers would probably aspire to go for, at least to some degree. Now, I'm going to turn off my ring light because I have the ring light tuned for this camera, and then we're going to switch over to one of the other webcams. We're going to go with the webcam with its built-in ring light first, so let's try that. Okay, so here we are on the Nexigo N680e with its little built-in ring light in my normal streaming setup. Now, I like to run things a little bit dark, which can present some problems with some webcams, and that's why I actually like the little ring light one. Now, the way that you control the light on it is touch sensitive on there, so there's 3 levels to it. This is off. This is level 1. Not too much of a difference. It's not that bright. Here's level 2, And you can start seeing it a little bit more. And then level 3, and it sort of like just sort of fills out the screen, I guess you could say, or how you're looking at it. Now, do you get that ring effect in the eyes? Not really, but it's not that big a deal. Gives you a little bit of extra light in a room that otherwise has no lights turned on except for some RGB floodlight in the back. You want to see how it looks without that floodlight? Let's see how that looks. That's usable, in my opinion. That is perfectly usable. And let's say if we were to tweak it a little bit, let's go here. I'm going to configure. I'm going to tweak. Most of the time, the biggest things to tweak are exposure. I'm going to turn my RGB light in the back because it just adds some flair that I like to see. Focus is on autofocus. Exposure is what I like to control the most when it comes to these, because that's when you can really see the power of what it can do to some degree. I'm also going to turn off something called low light compensation, which comes up when you go to configure video on the properties and OBS on that. So I'm going to turn that off, and that will also help keep things smooth, because low light compensation will kill your FPS of the webcam to try to give you better looking image in low light. So I'm going to turn the exposure up because we need a little bit more. See, now that's too much. That's not enough. And I think that's good right there. Then we probably add some sharpness. And there you have it. Not too bad. Probably still doesn't look that much better than it did on auto settings. But at least now if you were to add lights and all that, you know that you can control those sort of settings, which are settings that I personally find important for webcam control. We are right now at 1080p 30 FPS. Can this webcam do 60 FPS? I'm about to pull it out, and FPS match output highest and 30. So this is a 1080p. This is a 1080p 30 FPS webcam. Not that big a deal, especially when you're streaming and you're in a little box on the stream anyways. So it looks like a webcam. What can you say? Now, as a cost option, this webcam ends up coming in at $58.99. When personally, I think the Razer Kiyo didn't look that much better than this webcam for at least $40 to $50, $60 more. I think this webcam does have a place for people looking for something kind of basic. All-in-one webcam that's 1080p with a little bit of light on it, so you don't need to worry about too much additional lighting, something like that. Just a step up from a typical low-end webcam. I think this fills that gap decently. It doesn't look terrible, like I said, and it's perfectly usable. And the ring light is a nice little added bonus. Now let's move on to their other webcam, which should be a little bit of a higher tier, the N660p. But first, microphone test on the ring light webcam. So let's unmute that. I'll mute my main mic right now. This is how it sounds with the ring light webcam, the microphone that's built into it. I mean, I don't imagine it sounds too good, but I'll listen back to it and we'll get back to you guys in the conclusion. Now, if you wanted to add lighting with the webcam and try to get a little bit more out of it than just the ring light that's on it, I'm going to turn on my 18-inch ring light that I have back here from Newer. Boom. This is how he's the setup. Now, obviously, we're pretty much completely overexposed. I'm going to turn off the built-in ring light and just go off of my main ring light. And yeah, like I said, we are incredibly overexposed. Let's bring up the camera settings again, and we're going to turn down the exposure. So here we are with an added ring light, some better lighting for this webcam, and things do look a little bit smoother with the tweaks that are made. The webcam looks perfectly solid as well. So this is how the little ring light webcam from Nexigo would look with a more serious streamer lighting look, I guess you could say. So here we are on the primary Nexigo 1080p N660p webcam that they offer. This is their higher end 1080p offering. I believe it can do 1080 60 FPS as well. And as you can see, in automatic, doesn't look the greatest. So let's go in and play with the settings a little bit. N660p, configure video. Right now, exposure's on automatic. We're gonna uncheck exposure, uncheck low light compensation, and exposure up a little bit. I think right there is good. And let's see if we see what I'm seeing here. Yeah, it does not like the low light setting that we're in. However, if you look at the quality of the image, it's not bad, and it is better than the ring light camera version. So let's optimize a little bit so we can get a smooth FPS. Right now it's set to 30. I'm gonna go to 60, see what happens. Does not like that at all. Yeah. So we're gonna keep playing with the settings until we can get it to look good and work correctly. Now I stuck it back on automatic exposure at 60 FPS, but as you can see, the image is not great. Now with the webcam like this that doesn't have its own lighting, you really do need to optimize your lighting for something like this. Common knowledge for USB webcams, yes, you need a lot of light. So let's turn on the big ring light that I have right behind it. Already there's an improvement. It's already looking smoother. I'm gonna go back to 30 FPS because that's where I just want it for now in this testing. And yeah, now we're overexposed. We have more tweaking to do. Configure video in OBS. I'm going to turn it off auto exposure, and I'm going to turn down the exposure a little bit. Let's see, is it there or there? I would say probably here is good. And again, I'm looking a little flat or anything. I need to add a little saturation to the colors. Maybe there. Sharpness, I'm gonna add a little sharpness. That looks better. That is a definite improvement for users with this webcam. Now the light I have in the back, auto exposure, auto white balance, is going crazy with that RGB light. So that's something that you're gonna have to be aware of when you're playing around with USB webcams that don't have the most control. Let's see, white balance, I'm gonna just uncheck it and manually set the white balance in the properties like I mentioned, so that I can look proper even with the RGB light in the back. It's a little setting you guys have to remember if you have a lot of RGB lighting around you. So now the light behind me will look good, and I won't be changing tone all the time because it's adjusting for the light in the back. That's what white balance does, kind of. So here we are, and yeah, again, not a half bad image for what you're getting. You can clearly see the beard is defined and such, and everything is clear enough that I think this is perfectly fine. Now this webcam cost $68.99, and according to the listing online, it also comes with a USB 3.0 hub, even though I believe this is a USB 2.0 webcam. Interesting that it comes like that. But $68.99, you get a free hub or an included hub. Not a bad price. I know that the C920 is probably still right here with both of these cameras in terms of visual quality. So you're still paying $68.99 for tech that looks like it came from almost 10 years ago. That is the plight of the USB webcam right now, unfortunately. Well, the majority of them out there at least. But it is what it is. So we got some extra offerings. This is how this webcam looks tweaked, and it's not bad at all. Now let me show you guys this one side to side with the ring light and the ring light version of it, and you can see how that looks. Now that one is all sorts of broke. Let's fix that real quick. But first, can't forget the microphone test of this webcam. Let's do that now. Okay, so this is how the built-in microphones to this webcam sound. I'm gonna have to listen back to it and see how it sounds and get back to you guys on that in the conclusion coming up shortly. Okay, and now I have both webcams side by side tweaked with additional lighting to show you guys what they're capable of once they've been adjusted a little bit, and if you've gone ahead and added, better lighting to your stream setup. Now, it's clear in this case that the N660p is the better camera, and honestly, when you shrink down the image a little bit like you would in a stream, the N660p is the clear winner, and it doesn't look half bad. The N680e, for what it offers with the ring light, is a definite plus, but it's inferior in comparison in terms of image quality. I was adjusting it, trying to get as best as I can, but it just does not look as natural as the N660p, but they both still look like a webcam. So if I had to pick between these two, I would go with the N660p. But if you're in a situation where getting additional lighting for your stream is more difficult due to space constraints or other reasons, the N680e is still a pretty good choice. And this is in the market if you're like, you can only afford a webcam that costs under $100 and you can't save up for anything more significant, like this camera. Because this is a significant cost differential when you're on an A5100 and a high-end lens, but You know, sometimes this is the best that somebody can do, and the best that you can do is all that you need. And you know, what else can I say from there? So we're back at the desk now, and I had a chance to look at the footage and listen back to the microphones on the webcam. Let me talk about those microphones first. They do pick up a lot of noise, and I guess for something like that, they kind of have to. That's going to be a problem if you're going to be using these in a noisy environment. They don't sound all that different, but I guess the N660p, the better webcam, does sound a little bit better. A plus for both of them is that they both sound clear. They just sound kind of distant or echoey, which makes sense when the microphone is that far away from you and that's what you're trying to speak into, is what it is for a USB webcam mic. Now, in terms of visual quality, the N660p ended up being clearly the superior one. And that one I would say is probably on par to like a Logitech C920 or rather a C930, whatever the newer one is, not the Brio and not the StreamCam. But it's definitely up there, hanging in there. And it's $68.99 and comes with an included 4-port hub. It's not the worst value, but it sort of falls into that situation where if you can get a Logitech competitor for it for about the same price, maybe get the Logitech, but this is hardly a bad webcam for the money, so there's always that to consider. The ring light one I can't say that I liked it all that much, but it does cost less. It's about 10 bucks less, has its own lighting on it, which technically saves you money, I guess. And well, it gets the job done. So that's as much as I could say about that one. They both get the job done. The ring light one has its little niche that it fits into. The other one is just a really decent, generic overall USB webcam. And I gotta say, I was happier with the N660p than the ring light one. Like I said, ring light one, it's got a situation where it's useful by a lot as well. Now, what did you guys think of these webcams? I'd like to hear what you thought from the live demonstration in OBS. And if you have any suggestions for webcams for us to possibly check out, drop a comment down below. I would love to have a look at some more, you know? USB webcams, as different as they can be, how they present value is where they really kind of come in handy. Because if you can get a webcam that looks as good as these webcams, but let's say it costs half as much, value is through the roof, and not even a real camera setup can compare, because goodness, those cost a lot more and you got a lot more hoops to deal with in order to get those working properly with a streaming setup or Zoom or OBS or anything like that. USB webcam is awesome in the sense that you can just plug it in and get going. So thank you to Nexigo for sending these over. I do appreciate it. All opinions are my own and unbiased. They didn't pay for me to say anything positive about them. They just said, hey, you want to check these out? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll check them out. And that's it. If you guys like this video, you know what to do. And click that subscribe button while you're at it, and that bell. Also, I stream to Twitch every Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Coalition Gaming Crew. So if you want to talk webcams, hey, stop on over there, or any other computer tech stuff while I'm playing some games with the crew. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video and USB webcams versus cameras in general. What do you use? What's your favorite setup? What's your go-to nowadays? And yeah, so drop a comment down below. Let's talk about it. We'll see you in the next video, the next stream, or, you know, whatever, I guess. Bye. Also, I got a lot of other content right over here. You might want to click one. It would be cool if you clicked one. You should click one. Get into one of those videos, drop a comment down below and we'll talk. I respond to comments a lot, by the way, so interaction through the wazoo. Okay, fine, I'm out, I'm done, bye.